plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I'm in Cali every week. I go hard. Grower said he got sour, need that whole yard. I'm chasing turkey bag, you chasing gold yard. Tell us down, we just, we won't go far. Blue sherbet stuff the whole jar. 100 P's on the Bay Bridge, stuck in traffic. If I ever run in a Riri, let's make magic. Die doing something you love, it ain't tragic. Heard what I said, it ain't tragic. From the home of lay down, smoking ratchets. Never win when you spell it backwards. I got green in the bay, my whole team Packers. Told the plug I need 100 pigs, and my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs, and my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 pigs, and my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs, and my shoebox got 100 G. Gucci slides with the G's while I'm selling pigs.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We're streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com/New Haven Independent or go to your Facebook page, look us up, and hit see first. And that way you'll get to see all the good shows that they have here on the New Haven Independent and 103.5 FM and get to see what we got going on here. So, today is Monday, the 1st of July, the first day of July. We got a 4th of July weekend coming up this week. I hope everybody's ready for a good time. Stay safe out there, but have a good time anyway. As you can see, if you're watching on Facebook Live, I am here by myself right now. I'm expecting my co-host here soon. But either way, we will trudge forward and hopefully get some interaction from you guys. So anyway, some news coming out in the cannabis industry. Last week on Tuesday, I think it was, the governor of Illinois finally signed the cannabis legalization bill for the state of Illinois, making it the 11th state to legalize marijuana. So we're over 1/5 of the way there as far as legal states go, which is a good sign. Hopefully little by little we'll make it up to 50%, and then we'll have the over half of a majority. So this is the first state, which Connecticut could have been, to do this by an act of the legislature, including retail sales. So Vermont technically did it through their legislature. And what most people don't know is that Guam actually did it with medical marijuana with legal marijuana actually through their legislature. But this is the first state, Illinois, to actually set up a retail system through their legislature. Obviously, it wasn't without controversy. If anybody was following the show and following what we've been talking about here, the growers out there, who are conspicuously a couple of the same growers that work here in Connecticut, and I'm talking about the corporate growers who have been running the medical industry out there, really, really put heavy digs in on not having personal home grow, which they did in New York too, and they came up with this bogus 5-step plan about why home grow was bad, and I think we went over it once on the air, but either way, they won out. There is no home grow in the Illinois law. However, what they did do for their medical patients, which Connecticut refused to do, was allow them to home grow. So they didn't give home grow rights to recreational users, but they did give home grow rights to patients. So kudos to them, at least for keeping which they didn't have before. So they added home grow rights for patients, but they did not allow for recreation. So the bill allows people for 21 and older to possess and consume certain amounts of cannabis, and will go into effect on the 1st of January. Looks like Kebra is not going to be able to make it. So I'm just waiting on Lou, but I don't, either way, we'll just keep going on. Um, yeah, she's got fires to put out at her job. Well, good luck with those fires, Kebra. I hope you are able to put them out. So anyway, 21 and over. It also includes people who have prior convictions of 30 grams or less, which is basically an ounce, a little over an ounce or less, will have their records automatically expunged. Those with the convictions of 30 grams up to 500 grams will be able to petition the courts to have their records cleared. Now, I'm sure they're able to do that anyway, but this is the first state to actually do it. It was a bipartisan bill, and it also has a lot of equity clauses in it. And the bill's being applauded because it's probably one of the best bills we've ever seen out there done legislatively. The only thing that's a little bit discerning about the bill is their tax structure. So it says the sales for flower containing up to 35% THC will be taxed at 10%. So that means if the raw cost of the cannabis is $200 an ounce, you're going to be paying $220 right off the bat. And then they're still able to add their 6.5%, 6.25% state tax, and then the local jurisdiction will have the option to impose a 3.5% tax. So you're looking at a close to a 20% tax on flower after all is said and done. And then on the concentrates and anything that contains more than 35% THC, there's going to be a 25% tax. So if you think about that, if you have a cartridge that, let's say, cost you, I don't know, $20, right? You're going to pay an extra $255 on that. This is going to cost you $25. And then you still have to have the sales tax and the 3.5%. So they are taxing it and edibles will be taxed at 20%, edibles and drinks and anything like that. So they set up a pretty high tax structure. So maybe that will help keep the medical patients along with the grow rights to keep them in the medical program as well. Because I think that's a big concern, both with Connecticut and a lot of the states that already have up and running and fairly thriving medical programs, that if they implement recreational cannabis use, what will that do to the medical program? And, we've seen in some states like Washington where it absolutely decimated it and they had to get rid of it. So what you got to look out for is that. And I think this bill does that by giving patients grow rights and giving them the option to have tax-free marijuana instead of the large taxes that I just mentioned here. I think it'll give people the incentive to stay in the medical program. And it looks like, unfortunately, they're going to be getting the same weed regardless. And that's always been, one of the issues that I personally have had with the recreation and the medical programs being run by the same growers is that, the quality of the cannabis here in Connecticut through these corporate growers, and let's be real, all four of these growers, and we're talking about the same thing in Chicago and Illinois and all that, are growing their weed in a corporate way. So it's corporate weed, basically, what it comes down to. It's mass produced. It's not cured for long periods of time. It's all grown in the same way, regardless of strain. So you come out with this cannabis that we get here in Connecticut, which it's okay cannabis, but compared to some of the cannabis I've seen from other states, including Rhode Island. Rhode Island has much better medicine than we do, and Maine, that the quality is not there. You would be much better off using smaller grow facilities to supplement the medical program as well as recreation. And the problem with that is, if you have the same people growing all the weed in the state, then there's really no difference between the recreational products and the medical products, even though they say there will be. As long as they're all growing it the same way, they may have different strains, but it's all going to be the same typical quality, which is mediocre at best. So you're going to have a whole state with a bunch of mediocre weed like they do out there in Las Vegas. because of the lack of growers out there and the variety in growers. So we'll have to see how Illinois is, and if it doesn't really mention if they're going to license any more growers or not. But January 1st, 2020, Illinois will be the 11th state to be selling legal cannabis in the United States of America. So that's a good thing. So, as far a lot of you guys have been listening to us and you've been hearing about what's been happening up there in Massachusetts with the CBD regulations. The MDAR, which is the Department of Agriculture in Massachusetts, put out some new guidelines for how cannabis is to be sold in Massachusetts. And what a lot of people don't realize is, first of all, they put a local stipulation on it, meaning that any CBD sold in Massachusetts must be grown and manufactured and produced in Massachusetts. So that takes away, even though it's federally legal to transport CBD and hemp products across state lines, that takes away a lot of the people who have been selling CBD and getting it from other sources, because, first of all, Massachusetts hemp program and CBD program isn't even that fully developed and up and running. There is only actually one producer of CBD in Massachusetts, and there's no way they could supply all the demand for all the CBD products out there. But it doesn't matter, because what they also done is put so many restrictions on the kind of products you can sell that, first of all, you can't have any edible products at all. No drinks, no brownies, no gummy bears, no candies, nothing edible with CBD in it. You also cannot make any medical claims for any relief, which means no more tinctures, because you cannot sell it as a supplement anymore. So there can be no supplemental sales of CBD, which leaves pretty much the only thing you can sell CBD for, which the FDA has approved, is topicals. So any company that has been producing topicals, let's say like the Healing Rose, which is based out of Massachusetts, is still doing okay because they are not covered under the MDRA's recommendations, because they're completely all topicals. But anybody who's been selling edibles, I know there are a couple companies that do caramels, chocolate, coffee, right up there in Massachusetts, and right now they've got to be kind of wondering what the future of their business is, because that's where they're based out of. And it's, if any of you know, it's not real easy to just pack up and leave the state you live in, because we'd do it if we all could, right? Wouldn't we all be doing it right here in Connecticut? Because conditions here in Connecticut are worse than they are in Mass, but not for CBD. At least here in CBD, we are still allowed to sell edibles and tinctures and things like that, knock on wood. So, we will see what happens here, but it looks like the senators, both Mitch McConnell and Ron Wyden of Oregon, have put pressure on the FDA because of things like this. This is what happens when the FDA doesn't have clear recommendations out there for how to regulate this stuff. So, this is what we end up with. We end up with New York City doing a ban on CBD. We end up with Maine trying it. A lot of people don't know there are other states that have put CBD bans on. So these are the things we have to look at and watch out for. Those of us in the CBD industry, that we need the FDA to make a ruling on this ASAP. So both Mitch McConnell and Senator Wyden have been putting a lot of pressure on, and here's Uncle Lou. How are you, Uncle Lou?
Hey, how's it going, my brother? I was listening to you as you were coming on.
Good.
Oh.
I did get a text from Kebra saying that she will not be able to make it.
Yeah, I got that text as well there, brother. I was, I smashed my finger on one of the farm equipments. And
you look like you just came from the farm, Uncle Lou.
Yeah, as we talk CBD, we talk hemp, we talk growing it, working with it.
Well, Lou, I tell you, you really are doing the thing, because I was over there yesterday.
Joe, were you?
And I happened to see that there's a lot of progress being made on hemp farming here in Connecticut. It's very, very nice to see.
Thank you, Joe.
Very, very nice.
It was nice having you down at the farm yesterday. So it was.
Yeah. It's reality. Do you know what I mean?
It is. It is.
It's reality.
As we talk about how it's affecting everybody, we also see how it can affect everybody from the farmer all the way up to the end user.
Right.
As you're talking, they're putting these bans in place, and it's making it difficult to see really what's going on.
Right.
Because they put these ordinances and rules in, but really who it's affecting is the first and second strums of the latter versus the end user. Because realistically, if Walmart says, well, we carry our product, we don't produce it in this state, we don't do anything, the only thing we do is ship it from our warehouse in Maine to our stores in Massachusetts. Technically, they're not breaking any of their rules.
As long as it's only topical.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not being produced, it's not being made, nothing is being done with it in the state of
Right.
in that local
federally,
state.
it's legal to transport.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it's difficult, and this is what they're trying to say is the FDA needs to get off their butt and regulate.
And
And they're
they
pushing
just had as I was listening to you as I was listening as I was driving in as I got close enough from the Valley area into New Haven. Sorry, man. Dehydration is a real thing on the farm.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Joe. Whew, CBD.
Yeah. So anyway,
I told you, as we come in, we have a good. I'm beat today, Joe. Man, they are beating me up over there.
wow, and it's early too.
The city boy.
Well, we got a
boy.
caller calling in a few minutes.
And
so
who is our caller today, actually, Joe?
today we're going to talk to Brian Center. He's from Affinity Health and Wellness, the brand new dispensary that has opened up here in
New Haven.
in the New Haven
And
area.
Brian is a good friend of the show, and Peoples, and Normal, and
Yeah.
you know he's been a foot soldier in the fight for a very long time as well. So we're very happy to have him on board, and boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, he'll be talking about the new dispensary opening in New Haven, what their hours are, what
Some
they
of the
got
new
to offer there,
the new conditions that we have,
and then the new
indoors.
conditions that are added on to the.
Well, it brings a lot of access. We'll talk to him more about that,
But anyway, so yeah, with the CBD and the hemp, people are always talking about CBD being like the biggest, use for hemp. But the truth of the matter is, it's only one of the small things
oh yeah,
that
brother.
you can utilize hemp for.
You know, just as you're saying, CBD is one portion of it, but like we're gonna have male plants, and we're gonna use that male plant for hopefully construction applications. So
Right.
that's where one of my personal, I guess, caveats, likes, fortes, hobbies in the hemp world is construction application. Oh, we love the CBD. We really know it as an industry, as a tried and true, like now growing industry for a couple years. But with the speed that CBD has had blowing up, that same speed and attention can be had for the construction applications like hemp particle boards and hempcretes.
Yes, they're using it for all
different lubricants, different oils, different cellulose style papers, a different style of pots, because you can take the ground the mash of the hemp and turn them into plants. And I guess our caller is in as well. Hey.
All right. Who do we got on the line here? Is this Brian?
Hey guys, it's Brian. How you doing?
Yay! How's it going, Brian?
Hey, Brian.
Doing
How
well,
are you,
guys.
man? This is Brian
Go
Center
ahead,
on the
Joe.
phone from Affinity Health and Wellness. Brian, how are you?
Doing well, gentlemen. How about yourself?
Good, good.
Yes,
very
doing
good.
well, sir.
Tell us what's going on with Affinity Health and Wellness, and then we'll talk about a little bit about the medical marijuana program and what's going on with that and how we can try to improve it here in Connecticut.
Yeah, absolutely.
When did you guys open up, and what are your hours? What kind of products you're going to have? Tell us a little bit about Affinity and who's involved and what we're doing there.
Absolutely. So we opened our doors last Thursday. It's just kind of a soft opening and just trying to get our feet under us and working out some of the kinks. But we've had our doors open for a little over a week now. We had deliveries from every one of the growers, so we've got plenty of product on hand for everybody. We're going to be open Monday through Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thursday and Friday, we're going to be 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And Saturday, we're going to be open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're here able to help anybody if they need to get their transfer paperwork done, if they're going to need to help actually get certified with, the doctor's already certified them, but they need to, upload their paperwork to the state. We can help them with that as well. But we're located at 1351 Whaley Avenue, right off of the Merritt Parkway in New Haven. So we are very accessible. We're right off the bus line as well. So easy for anybody to get to. And, I mean, we just couldn't be happier to finally have a dispensary in the city limits of New Haven to serve the community that, has had to travel quite a ways for the past few years to get any medication.
Right. Yes, and a lot of people don't understand that some of the patients actually have to utilize public transportation, and when your choices are only Brantford, Milford, and Bethel in your local area, it's kind of difficult. It can be an all-day thing just to get to the dispensary by the time you get off the bus or the train and take all your transfers to get to where, because they're not right off bus lines, unfortunately.
And an added expense to the whole process as well.
Right, exactly. So this will be a good thing for New Haven residents, and a lot of people don't realize that, there's a high concentration of patients here in New Haven.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a good thing, and you guys are open. So you're open right now. If people are ready to come on down, they can come on down and
right
see
now.
you.
They can reach us through on the phone. It's 203-745-3823 is our phone number. They can get us on the web at affinityct.com. We have our online ordering and everything is up there too. But they're all welcome to stop in too if they want to help with any of the paperwork or just some questions or anything like that as well. Here to help them out with anything they need.
And have you found the community to be receptive of you guys where you're located?
Yeah, they've been very receptive so far. I mean, we've had like the lieutenant was in last week. They were very excited for us to be here. They were very impressed with how safe and secure the premises are here. I mean, it's not something anybody's got to worry about, if they're coming inside. Plenty of security everywhere. And the rest of the community that have been through, we had a couple of the aldermen come through as well. They were very impressed with how everything was set up, how professional we had it. And then we got a nice big wide open space. We got lots of natural light coming through. We have ordering can be done through iPads in store and everything as well. So nice new facility that hopefully everybody can enjoy.
Well, that's excellent, Brian. That's great to hear. And that is in where the old Tommy K's was, correct? For people who are kind of looking for a landmark there, the old Tommy K's that was up there on Whaley Ave is now a medical marijuana dispensary. So that's really, really good news for the city of New Haven and the surrounding area like Orange and Woodbridge. I'm sure you'll get some patients from there as well.
Absolutely. And then, all those around here that have had to travel, we're happy to serve the community and help in any way we can. So, and if anybody else wants to travel, well, then we'll take them too. But just here for the, trying to make sure that the local community has access. Like we said, not everybody's able to drive, an hour or so away to some of these dispensaries, depending on where they live. So having that local access with, people that are from the local area as well, I think is integral in the community.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, we know that 9 dispensaries are opening up. How many have opened out of the 9? 6?
I believe there's 5 of us that have actually opened so far.
5 out of the 9. Okay. Now, because you're the guy who does the ordering over there, have you found that with 5 new dispensaries online that the growers have less product or less availability? Have you seen any issues with that, or do you see any signs of any issues with that so far?
I can't say as I've noticed anything so far. I think that some of the lulls we've had are just some lulls that happen at time where there just happens to be minimal product available. But what I've seen so far actually is they've had more offerings in the past 2 weeks with all of us opening, and I haven't seen anybody really having any major issues with ordering. I can imagine some of them that have many more patients would like to order more product. But, it is what it is. I think that's going to be part of the deal at the beginning until patients start to realize some of these other dispensaries are open and the numbers start to sort of level off. But I think the growers are trying to get there. I think they're making the effort to have more product available. Is it enough? Well, we always want more, right? And we always want better, and we always want to have a consistent supply. So But I got to say, I don't think that they have, really fallen off so far. I think they've done a pretty decent job considering. But it's hard when, the brand new dispensaries like us are getting the same allotments that somebody who,
Right.
has a lot more patients. And, so that makes it harder on those patients that are looking for the medication too.
Right. Well, that's what I was kind of trying to say. They set up a system where everybody's equal, but yet not everybody has equal amounts of patients. So you do have
Right.
some, like the one I go to, can run out every now and then because they have a high volume
And
of
that
patients. They probably will
Yep,
lose some to
they
you
catch a good
guys
strain
now,
that
but
comes out, and now that there's less availability for every one of the dispensaries, you're absolutely going to run into those issues.
right.
And I mean, we saw a very similar thing when the other 3 dispensaries opened after the original 6 as well. There was kind of a lull there, and it took a little while for everyone to work out the kinks in that, and we definitely had some disgruntled patients for a while there too. But I think that after having been through that, I'm optimistic that it'll be a little bit smoother transition this time.
Well, we hope so. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the obvious solution would be to license another grower or two, just to be sure,
Absolutely.
But
and even if they do, that's still going to take a good year or
yeah,
two
just to
before,
get them up and running.
probably 2 years after the application process and everything before you'd see that. And I mean, if we can get some of these new conditions online, like they're
Yeah, let's talk about what they are.
That could make a real big difference.
Now, they did not add opioids this time, and they did
Correct.
tabled chronic pain unless you have an underlying condition that you can identify, correct?
Yeah, so it was the way the meeting went down. I thought it was one of the most evolved conversations I've ever heard the Board of Physicians have. I was pretty
That's because
impressed,
D'Souza
actually,
wasn't
with
there, right?
Yeah, they really kind of embraced it a little bit more. They kind of recognized that there's new information out there. They did pass the neuropathic pain. They kind of broadened that a little bit as well. So that does give a lot of opportunity for patients who may have been in a chronic pain category, but they are really more of a neuropathic pain anyway. So
now, does that
but
include neuropathy of the?
Yeah.
It does. Okay, so I know you and I were discussing that over at Canna Health regarding whether is that on the books yet? Or are we still waiting for that?
We're still waiting for that. So it still has to go through the process. The Regulation Review Committee has to approve these. And I don't know exactly when they meet again. I don't believe they've set a meeting date. But once they set that meeting date, part of their agenda will be to approve, or offer up changes. But I believe part of the process, they have to go through the Office of Policy Management, OPM, to make sure that it doesn't conflict with any federal laws or any of this other stuff. And then they recommend it to the Regulation Review Committee. So I would say, fingers crossed, they'll be on there maybe January 1st, but probably not before then, because by the time the committee meets and they approve it, it might not be before the first of the year. But what I hope is that they have their meeting on chronic pain before all this happens too, and maybe that can get added into that meeting and sort of expedite it as well.
So now, what are the 5 new conditions? You said neuropathic pain.
Yep, it was neuropathic pain, Tourette syndrome, Mall's disease, interstitial cystitis, vulvar burning, and there was one other one too. Did I say Tourette's?
Yeah, you did. Well, there was 5.
Okay.
You gave me 5.
Yeah, okay.
When was migraines put in?
Potentially chronic pain.
Is migraines is on the list?
Yeah,
right?
migraines has been in since the last round of entry.
Yeah, they were one of the last ones. Okay. So it's interesting with the system we have, so we know there's 5 new conditions, but yet we still can't, that have been approved, but we still can't prescribe them the medicine for that. So it's like anything in this state takes forever to get done. But so now we were talking about Illinois before and how Illinois completely legalized cannabis. And they did something interesting, something that we suggested to our legislators, which was not allow grow rights for the recreational market, but to allow grow rights for medical patients. So they recognized the need for their medical patients to grow their own medicine. And all in all, I think they put together a pretty fair and balanced bill, other than their tax structure, which looks like they're going to rob people. But as far as the the structure of the bill, the equity involved, the expungement involved, and allowing the grow rights for patients, I think they put together a pretty decent bill. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It sounds really similar to everything that we refused to vote on here in Connecticut. I mean, it had, like you said, it had the expungement. It has patient grow rights, which, you're talking about grow rights. Grow rights should go to the patients first anyway, especially if you're talking about situations like we just were, where there's potential shortages in medications. Just growing in general itself is therapeutic and can be beneficial for patients alone. But now they know what went into their medication. There are no questions or concerns or anything like that as well. So, there's so many different benefits for that. And, if recreational grow rights are going to happen, then you need medical first anyway. But I think the rest of their bill with the equity, piece and everything too, it really sounded pretty solid to me. I mean, it sounded like they really paid attention to what was going on and tried to get as much of that as humanly possible in there.
Yeah.
And I was impressed. I really was.
The governor signed it.
Looked like we fell on our face.
Makes us, New York and New Jersey, look like we fell. What people don't realize is that, New York and New Jersey are big state. I mean, New York is a huge state, and for them to be failing like that, it doesn't look good on them. It really doesn't, especially when all the three of the governors promised they would do it.
Yep.
And, Cuomo
it's
did
even
it.
worse when the public support is polling at high 60s, low 70%. That the legislators don't often get those kind of numbers to be supporting an issue. You would think they would take advantage of that while they have the opportunity.
Right, but they couldn't. And congratulations and kudos to Illinois for being able to do this. Maybe it's a Midwestern attitude. Maybe their legislature's a little more balanced and bipartisan than ours is. I don't know, but I really got to give them a lot of credit for doing it because they were the first state to actually put in regulations through the legislature. So, Connecticut.
Maybe the rest of us will see that the state doesn't fall into the Great Lakes and it'll survive, and maybe we can pull off the same.
Yeah. I mean, they already got Michigan over there, too. So, at this point, I think we've got to start looking at our medical program here and trying to get them to improve that. And I know we've been discussing some things through NORML that we want to push, through the legislature, which would be grow rights. Reciprocity would be another nice thing to have here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a situation like we're having right now.
Right.
If a product is not available at the dispensary you normally go to, well, why can't I drive, however far I'm willing to drive to get it if it's available somewhere else?
Right. Like they're not only reciprocity, but the ability to switch dispensaries without having to pick only one. You should be able to choose any dispensary in the state.
Especially if you're going to use it. If you're using the dispensary system, you should have a little bit more freedom than.
Well, Lou, look at somebody like you. You live pretty far away from here.
I do, and I travel between work, between radio, between
three different
kids.
markets.
I can hit 3 or 4 different dispensaries at any given time. But realistically, I have to take time out of my work schedule to go to my dispensary because if I go to the farm for 8:00 in the morning. Now the dispensary doesn't open till 9.
You can't go there.
I can't go there in the morning. Then I'm driving around the Valley and Milford and New Haven all day for work, either going to Bohemian High, the Grove, coming up to the radio station, going over to the farm in the Valley. Right. I'm not by my home dispensary in Meriden.
By the time it
closes. And then
I
get home at 9:00 from working all day.
Yeah.
And I'm exhausted, and my dispensary's closed. You know what I mean? Just being able to have the option to be able to go.
But to take 10 minutes if you're
right.
Milford.
I could go to Affinity because I pass it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one of those things,
Absolutely.
and it's like, I really wish I could, but it's like, it gets complicated.
Yes, it does.
That's exactly it. They do make it very complicated, and it's part of it is because they can't track at the state level of exactly who's picking up what on a real-time basis. I kind of get that, but that should have been a seed to sale, software that was put in that probably would have helped that from the beginning too.
Yes.
So.
Right, and then of course we all know that sometime maybe 2 years into the program, they lost their budget. all the
Right.
money that they lost it to the general fund. So all the money that we had to make improvements and hire more people and maybe upgrade software disappeared. So now
Yeah.
we're running, we used to run off our own budget. The medical marijuana program started off as a self-sustaining program, and we were doing fine.
Right.
We had over $1 million in the bank, and that was ready to make improvements. And then the state just said, no, we want the money in the general fund, and took it.
Yeah, I mean,
People
one of the
don't
improvements they need
understand
to make
that.
is the renewals. I mean, if they could get the renewals automated and online, think of how much time that would save patients. It would save them, and it would allow patients to get back into the dispensaries sooner, possibly not have their card lapse if they can keep the same number and doesn't have to be processed like it does from the very beginning, and it could save the patient some money, the state time and money. I mean, a lot of potential there for just those simple fixes. Well,
Right.
we may think they're simple, but
Well, in a normal world, like even in a corporation, they would be. But we're talking
Right.
about the state of Connecticut. We're talking about any government. I mean, I've learned working in other states and other areas that some places work even slower than here. I hate to say
sad but true.
Really, we're fast paced up here. Go down south and try to get something done. It takes forever, But so yeah, I guess we're stuck with what we're stuck with. But I think it's important right now with new dispensaries opening and the medical program really being all we have here. I think we really got to put the pressure on the DCP to make these improvements.
Absolutely.
I didn't see any of that in the new budget that Ned Lamont proposed. I didn't see any more money going into the medical marijuana program. Did you?
I didn't see it.
No.
They can open them toilets though on the rest stop for 24 hours.
They could definitely do that. I'd take that over some other things too, man.
Yeah.
I got that Crohn's disease. Them bathrooms are important to me.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you took the money and you put it in the general fund, then it should be a part of the budget. You should be giving some money back to the program to hire new people, to upgrade your software, to do whatever needs to be done. I mean, aren't they even sending out IDs for the new patients without photos now?
Yeah, it's essentially like an insurance card ID, just like a flimsy,
Yeah.
Not even plastic piece of paper that's like a laminated piece of paper, kind of. No picture or anything like that, but you're still required to show a picture ID when you come in. So, it means you need at least 2 forms of identification regardless to walk in the door.
It's ridiculous.
It's up to us, obviously, to check and make sure you're a patient of ours and you're on our list and everything as well. But, for these patients, a lot of patients are going to lose it easy. It's going to rip. It's going to, fall apart. And then they got to go pay to get another one and everything else, too. So, it's, I don't know.
It's ridiculous. I don't think there's any state that has every state that I know has a plastic card with your picture on it. And I've seen like 4 or 5 different states' medical cards, including Puerto Rico, which you'd think would do it on a piece of paper. No, they have
some places have that piece of paper because California used to have that piece of paper
used to,
too.
but not
They went
anymore.
to it, but they have more budget at it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just what's it going with. Some places don't have any
Remember,
identification.
we went from cards to paper. A lot of the places
go
start
from paper.
with the paper
Yeah,
to the
100%.
Yeah, we're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm trying to justify the state a little bit there. I'm playing devil's advocate.
It's all good, Uncle. It's all good. We do still have to live here, right? And do business in this state. We don't want to piss them off too much. But so yeah, Brian. Anything else going on? We know we got the Canna Health down at the Grove is new. We do the medical marijuana support group once a month down there. That's a good place. Yeah, we pushed it up a week because of the 4th of July, but that's a good place for patients to come down. They can talk to you in person, talk to me, and find out really, how to dose the product. And get some really good information about their specific condition and what's happening with them. And I found
just ask questions that they can't seem to find answers to, whatever it happens to be. And you don't even have to be a certified patient. If you just have questions about the program or anything, come on down and ask. We're there to help anybody with any of their issues when it comes to their medical cannabis. So
Yeah, and it's held at the Grove, which is right next to Bohemian High. So it's the same thing if you have questions about CBD and things like that. Come down,
Yep.
have a cup of CBD coffee with us. I mean, it's it's more than a support group. It's actually a place to gather around for patients to be social, and just share their stories. So we're hoping to get more people involved in that. That's usually the first Wednesday of every month at the Grove, but this month it will be next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Brian, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. And again,
Yeah.
can you give the website again and the address and the phone number?
Yep. So the website is affinityct.com, AFFINITYCT.com. Our address is 1351 Whaley Avenue in New Haven, and our phone number is 203-745-3823. Anybody, needs anything, questions, concerns, how to do any of it, whatever they need to do, please contact us. We are happy to help any way we can.
That's great, Brian. And I know you are the head pharmacist there, so they can probably just ask for you and get any of their questions answered.
Absolutely.
Very, very cool. Again, thanks again. We will see you next week at the Medical Marijuana Support Group, discussion group.
Absolutely.
All right.
See you then, guys.
All right,
All
Brian.
right, good
Thanks
sir.
again. We always appreciate your insight.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good afternoon.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye, sir.
All right, one more time here. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com/New Haven Independent or go to your Facebook page and look us up. So, Uncle Lou.
Yes, sir, my good man.
What do we got going on this week besides the Medical Marijuana Support Group? We have a special event going on this weekend up in Spencer, Massachusetts.
Yes, sir.
What is that? The Terptown Throwdown.
Terptown Throwdown.
Tell us a little bit about what goes on there.
The Terptown Throwdown is a celebration of home cultivation and music and the arts in Spencer, Massachusetts, that will allow on-site medical consumption. If you are a medical patient with proper documentation, the City of Spencer's town chief said that they will have no problem with the medical
Doesn't matter what
consumption.
state.
Doesn't matter what state, but as you have to have your credentials on you, the police will stop and ask you. They did put a piece of paper out, a letter stating that they are allowing it, but all patrons have to comply with state and local laws, which means that they will question you. So they may they may bother you a little bit, but they may not bother you to the point of giving you a ticket or anything. So if they see you doing the crazy things and like rolling around with the 10-foot joint or something like that, they're going to say, hey, do you happen to have your medical card? And if you have your medical card, you shouldn't have a problem there.
Let me ask you a question, though, Uncle Lou. This is a recreational state. Are
Yes,
there
sir.
consumption laws up there? Is that the issue?
Well, it's the consumption laws, because the consumption laws are currently not in place. Social consumption is something that isn't in state legislation for Massachusetts yet, but medicinal social consumption is. So they're just playing it by the rules. So they're not going to have any sales or anything there. There is a cannabis competition, but all the samples were already pre-done. None of them are going to be on site. The judging was done beforehand.
Will there
Now
be?
it's a big concert now, basically.
So it'll be fun.
Yes, it's going to be a big concert. You're going to enjoy friends, see friends new and old. Get to meet some of the new brands, the old brands, established people doing things all over the country. Terptown Throwtown is going to be a great
The fairgrounds in Spencer, Mass.
in the fairgrounds in Spencer, Mass.
July the 6th.
Yes, sir.
All right. So there's something, guys. And also there is July the 10th up at Mohegan Sun,
Mm-hmm.
the American Hemp Fest and concert. It's being held up there. So there's some artists. I think Fish
Yes,
is
sir.
actually playing up there that night. But what people don't know is that during the day, there is actually a hemp expo going on with hemp companies, mostly products. There are some CBD companies, but it's also a lot of clothing and other things to have to do with hemp. So that is during the day. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it, but it's next Wednesday, July the 10th, and that is at Mohegan Sun. That will be like the All American Hemp Festival, I think they call it. And they're going to have a concert.
All American Hemp and Blues Fest.
Okay, so the concert goes at night.
Yep, and our friends Cushley will be there. Pop Pocket. There'll be a couple ultra hemp, a couple cool hemp and CBD and cannabis brands that are being showcased. Yeah,
And go up there if you have the time. You know, good concert, good music, good hemp, and of course gambling. So, you know what could be better? Hemp and gambling. So yeah, speaking of hemp, Lou, Forbes magazine just put out a big article, and they think that hemp is going to be the next big thing, and I tend to agree because what they say, and they don't even mention CBD in this article. It says sustainable cotton, fuel,
they're not
wood,
they're not
and
going
plastic.
In the CD. They
They
they're
don't
not,
even
no
talk about
CBD.
CBD in this article.
No.
And this is Forbes,
Yes.
Money magazine.
Yes.
All they
They're
talk
not
about is how to
worried
make
about it.
money.
They're not worried about that.
No, big industry sees hemp as something different than CBD.
Right.
Big pharma sees CBD as something for them.
Right.
Big industry sees hemp as something for them.
Commodity.
Yes, it is
It's
a commodity.
money.
It's big money. And right now, the only thing stopping it from being widespread and mainstream is the lack of availability of it.
Yeah.
Because most states just got their programs up and running, and they're just waiting for some crops to come in.
I want to make concrete.
Right.
I want to make hempcrete.
Yes.
I want to make hemp fiber concrete. That's what I want to make.
That's the perfect thing for it, right? And fuel, oils.
I want to be able to spray this stuff out of the back of a truck like concrete and make roads, make trucks,
right?
Make
siding
buildings,
siding for a
walls.
house.
I want to do that, man.
That's a great idea because there are so many uses for hemp that people don't even realize.
Yep.
And I'm just giving anybody wants to do investments or anything, you should let us know because there's some doors opening around for hemp. And I just got the what do we got? 5 minutes? Oh, okay. So we're still good.
I'm pretty excited there, Joe. I'm pretty excited. We got a lot going on.
Yeah, we got to make the best of.
Yeah.
We were all hoping for recreational. That would have been like the icing on the cake because we already had.
It was
medical,
a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
And then we got hemp this year.
Yeah.
If we had got cannabis, it would have been like
that
the crown. Yeah, the trifecta, the icing on the cake. But maybe just the state just isn't ready for it. I don't know.
It's all right. I'm like, good thing it's radio, man. I've got blisters all over my hands. And they're just mice.
They can still see you.
Oh no!
Show them your shirt, Lil.
Oh,
How dirty
filthy,
you got
man.
working.
I've got blisters in my hands.
I got blisters on my fingers.
My back is aching. I had to get an extra massage this week. The farmers are laughing at me.
If only there was a plant to help you out with your aches.
Yeah, really, Lou. I wish you had access.
Gee willikers. The lady who does our massages, she does CBD massage. So I get a CBD massage after working on the hemp farm. I can't really. It's full circle in my life, brother.
Right?
It's full circle. So now I'll go use some CBD balm for my hands because this city boy who was selling and cooking it, now
you're
I'm
growing
it
legally though, man. I seen it. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yo, the paperwork's there.
I saw it. I saw it
the
myself.
paperwork, right? That's right, Joe.
Yeah.
Let them know that paperwork is legal.
That paperwork is legal. Lou is a certified hemp grower, and I can vouch for that. And it's pretty awesome.
Did you enjoy watering the plants?
I did. I'm going to come back and do it again. I love working with the soil, Lou.
We have a couple of Jason's coming down Friday.
Oh, he is?
Jason's coming
during
down
the morning. I'm
Friday.
going to come Friday morning then.
We love it.
I'm
All
off.
right.
I'll come down. I will come
And
down.
we've got 2 more minutes on there, Joe.
Okay,
I'm
so
pretty
let's see
excited.
what else is going on in the state.
So I'm
Lou.
really excited about the way that this is going because over down at the Grove and Go-Go Joe's, the teas are just about ready.
Yes.
So we're pretty excited about that. So we're gonna do a nice opening tea day.
Tea day.
Tea
Ooh,
day.
I love it. Let's do it
So
on
we'll
a Saturday.
do tea. We'll do tea on a Saturday.
Saturday tea.
Saturday we'll do Saturday tea. I have some photos that we're ready to put up. We'll do a little. We can do a Saturday afternoon tea time for about an hour and a half, and talk hemp, CBD.
Yeah, maybe
we'll
play
talk
some
tea.
music, show some videos.
Oh
whatever.
yeah, it'll be a really good time, and I'm
Excellent.
kind of excited about that because this has been a learning experience for me, Joe.
Yeah.
going from working in a large corporate setting to not wanting to work in that large corporate setting and completely switching it, man. I drive in, I get to see the mountain range and the top of the trees and the hemp growing. You're talking 2, 3, 4, 500 plants
It's a beautiful
in a
thing.
view, and
Like I told you yesterday, I think both of us have gone through this, like trying to find our spot
yeah,
in the industry. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a medical professional. You're not a medical professional. And we only have medical here, so it's like, where do we guys like us fit in? We
Yeah.
can't work in the grow facility, and here it is. Here it
Yeah.
is, hemp,
Hemp.
and it's bigger than
same
any
plant,
other.
same beautiful plant.
Yeah,
We have a couple plants that are about 5 nodes up, so they've got a couple spacings. They have some offshoots. The leaves are about the size of your hand, so if you see there, you got like 5 families just chilling, and it's gorgeous. And you can take those plants, and we had some barbecue going on, so we threw some hemp leaves on top of the burgers,
like lettuce.
some just like lettuce, and just kind of.
Before we go,
We got to pay the bills.
this week, Canna Health
Oh,
at the
Canna
Grove
Health.
is open
Grove.
from Wednesday 2 to 6.
2 to 6.
If those of you who want your appointment before 4th of July weekend, come on down.
Yes.
Canna Health is 158 Milford, Bridgeport Avenue in Milford. 2 to 6. This Wednesday, we'll be giving out the medical marijuana recommendations.
We love it. Have a happy, healthy, high
Happy 4th of July. That's right, man. Enjoy them fireworks, even if they're only in your mind.
That's right. Stay happy, healthy, and high. Smoke one for everybody.
All right.
Blessings.
Blue sherbet stuff the whole jar. 100 P's on the Bay Bridge, stuck in traffic. If I ever run into Riri, let's make magic. Die doing something you love, it ain't tragic. Heard what I said, nigga, it ain't tragic. From the home of lay down, smoking ratchets. Never win when you spell it backwards.